Lawmakers in New York are introducing legislation to ban virginity testing. And it's all because of T.I.'s controversial admission last month that he takes his daughter to the doctor to ensure her hymen is intact. If the bill is passed, doctors who perform the tests could face professional misconduct penalties or possible criminal charges. So as far as I know, there is no accurate way to assess virginity. So Dr. Amica, what is virginity testing? What does it entail?
Well, I mean, basically, you're trying to figure out if, the thin sheet that's there when you're born is still present or intact.
The hymen.
Right, called the hymen. Like the records show, it's not a very good test to determine that, because your hymen can be broken for simple reasons, just as an active girl, and so on and so forth. And sometimes, you have other ways to, disguise it or bring it back, from other tests, and that's beyond that. But it's not a good way to determine if someone is actually sexually active, and it's a little bit invasive, to be quite honest. And I have 2 girls. I can't really imagine having to go to, bring them to a physician, or myself having to test to make sure that this is intact.
I would call it very invasive.
Yeah. Very.
So, Stanley, why aren't we policing boys' virginity like this?
Because we don't care if boys have sex. We want them to have sex.
Why don't we care, though?
Because the world is a racist, patriarchal, sexist universe, and we like to control the bodies of women. But virginity is funny because it's a made-up thing. So it's like we made up the tooth fairy, and now we're making a study to find out the tooth fairy stole my wallet. This entire premise is silly and it's dumb, and it's about T.I. wanting to control his daughter so he can manage her sexuality, because he knows that she may be the man who is just as trash as he has been to his own wife. So, I mean, this is all bullshit.
I would agree with you, because we know that some women, right, Dr. Amika, are not born with hymens. They just don't have them. So it's just not an accurate test. Right. So I would say it's very, very invasive. So if parents want to find out if their kids are just having sex, why don't they just ask them?
I mean, as a communications and marketing strategist, I would very much advocate for just having a conversation. Like, it's about establishing trust with your offspring and having an open enough relationship that they feel comfortable enough to share that information. And if they don't, that's also okay. Like, it's a really kind of private thing. And if it's their safety that you're concerned about, there's other ways, I think, to go about it and to broach a conversation that is coming across as more protective and like, look, hey, I just want to make sure that you're safe, as opposed to controlling and trying to maintain purity, as T.I. I think was trying to come across as.
But isn't it crazy that in this day and age, we actually need a law to ban virginity testing, and we needed T.I. to bring it into the national conversation?
I'm actually surprised that he's the one that brought it up. And I mean, listening to it, it was like, why did he feel the need to talk about it in the first place?
Well, he says he was joking.
Well, it's a terrible joke. And obviously, look where we've come because of it. So it was not necessary for his daughter. It pretty much like put her on the spotlight too. So, you have this invasive thing, and it was private between you and your parents. And now the whole country knows that you had to go through this, kind of like humiliating thing. Not necessary. And at some point, you have to let people, especially women, become individuals. My children are still young. Eventually, there's going to be a point where I have to talk and discuss these things, but I have to also know that they're going to be individuals separate from me. I have control now because they don't know what they're doing, but eventually they're going to learn. And at some point later in the future, what does it matter anyway? If the hymen was intact, if it wasn't intact, or if they lied or told the truth, we eventually become adults, and hopefully functional, active adults that, we can look back and say that this thing didn't even really matter. So why even have a conversation about it?
So rapper Rah Digga, she actually sided with T.I., and she says that she too goes to the doctor with her daughter to check the hymen. Is it surprising to you that women are endorsing this?
No. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. If we've all been learning the same ideas about women and sex for all of our lives, why would anybody move different? You're actually weird if you move different. There are 3 absolutes in life. Hennessy tastes better with apple juice. Taxes.
Wait, how did you bring Hennessy into this conversation about hymens?
Well, there's always time and space for brown liquor in black spaces. But Hennessy tastes better with apple juice. Taxes are always gonna come, and men's insecurities run so deep that we have to control women's bodies in order to feel whole. And if we're really being honest about it, I lied about my virginity until I actually lost it. I told my dad I lost my virginity when I was 13 years old.
But why did you do that?
Because my dad has been having sex since he found out what sex could do. And he expected me to be the same way. And I remember I was 13 years old. I had just come back from my 8th grade senior trip. And I said, oh, I hung out with a girl. She wanted me to go to the woods with her. I said no. He said, why? And I said, I didn't want to. He goes, are you gay? I still love you, but you can't live here. And I said, no. And then I said, I didn't have any condoms. And he said, so what?
Oh my goodness.
She would have never found you again. That was the ideology. He's like, when you can get it, you get it. And that's the way a lot of men are socialized. Plus, he doesn't have any face. Do what you got to do a lot to get it. My dad learned how to speak Dutch. You know why? To have sex with Dutch women. That was the only reason.
You're spilling a lot of tea about your dad.
He doesn't know what YouTube is, so it's safe.
Good to know. Well, is there a better parenting strategy, do you think, as a parent, Dr. Amica?
Well, I mean, you have to pretty much figure out what works for your own children because they're all different. There's no, cookie cutter. There's no, I'm from a Caribbean background, so they all have the same ideology that you're gonna, bring them up the same exact way, beat it out of them in a sense, But, I think that somewhere along the lines, I kind of figured it out that this doesn't work. It's not for me. This doesn't fit for me. And then, trust that your children are going to make good decisions for themselves. Tell them how valuable they are, first of all, so that they know that I'm so valuable that this doesn't work for me. So I think that start there, figure out your children first and then decide what plan is best for them. It doesn't work the same for all children.
Well, the World Health Organization says virginity testing is unethical and should be banned. So I'm surprised it's still legal in the US and even more surprised that it took T.I. and his crazy comments to spark this change. You just watched a clip from the show that covers the culture like no other. For every episode, I assemble a panel of thinkers, activists, celebs, and outspoken experts to give us their unfiltered opinions on the topics that matter to Black America. This is elevated, intelligent, and uncensored discussion, representing every perspective. The conversations we have when we're the only ones in the room. No topic is off limits. We're not afraid to go there, and we do it all live, 5 days a week. Join me here every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media at twitter.com/Marlie Show. It's The Marlie Show. There's nothing else like it.